kitchen. I'm Christina. If you're returning to my kitchen, welcome back. I really appreciate your visits. If you're here for the first time, welcome, and please make sure to subscribe for regular videos on recipe ideas for any day of the week. Today I'm making one of my favorite fall desserts, pumpkin pie squares. They're so delicious and perfect for any occasion or in place of a traditional pumpkin pie. Topped with a creamy whipped frosting. Not only is it delicious, but the texture is velvety and silky smooth. I'll get started next and show you how to make it. The first thing I'm going to do is get my 13 by 9 inch pan ready. I have parchment paper down and I am going to just spray it with some Pam butter spray. And move on to my next step. Okay, so I have 2 sticks of butter that equal 1 cup. And I'm placing them in this cup measure here. I'm going to put this butter in the microwave to melt it. All right, so 30 seconds in the microwave and it melted nicely. So I'm just going to put this aside for now. Okay, so next I'm going to make what is going to be the crust of our pumpkin squares. So first off, I start by adding my flour, which is 1 1/8 cup, sugar, 3/4 cup sugar, baking powder, 1 3/4 teaspoon, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And I'm just going to blend all this together with my whisk here. You want to make sure this is all nicely blended. Okay, that's perfect. I'm going to put this aside and move on. All right, next I'm going to take my walnuts out of the bag. I bought chopped walnuts, and with my knife here, I'm just going to chop them a little further. Now I like to use my knife often to carry things over as I'm doing here. However, don't use the sharp part. Use the top so you don't dull your blade. Okay, next I'm going to mix the pumpkin and put all the ingredients together. I'm starting with a 29-ounce can of 100% pure pumpkin. Next, a 12-ounce can of evaporated milk. 1 cup of sugar. 1/2 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. And 3 eggs. I like to break them separately and add them one at a time, just in case I have one bad egg. It's not going to ruin my whole batch. Next, I'm going to mix everything really well. I like to check and make sure everything is mixed properly. And it's perfect. Next, I'm going to pour this in my parchment lined pan. All right, I got it all. Okay, so next I have my flour mixture, which is for our crust, and it's all mixed nicely together. So using a spoon, I'm just gonna sprinkle it all over the top of our pumpkin. The pumpkin is nice and thick, so you don't have to worry about the flour sinking into it. It's just gonna lay on top. I'm going to turn my pan around so I can reach the other side easily. Okay, I'm almost to the end here, and I'm just going to fill any spots I might have missed with the rest of this here. All right, that looks great. All right, next, the nuts. And we just sprinkle the nuts evenly over the top as well. If you don't like nuts or you're allergic to nuts, you can certainly skip this part. All right, that looked great, nice and evenly distributed. Okay, lastly, we're gonna drizzle the butter that we melted earlier. I'm just giving it a quick stir. Now I'm just gonna drizzle it all over the top. You wanna make sure to get the butter evenly throughout the bottom here. As it bakes in the oven, it'll distribute evenly as well. And next, it's ready to go in the oven. Okay, next I'm going to set a timer on my iPad for 1 hour and 10 minutes. Okay, here we go, fresh out of the oven. Next, I'm going to let it cool for a couple hours. To make my whipped cream frosting, I start out by adding a block of cream cheese. And the first thing I'm going to do is, with my handheld mixer, I'm going to whisk it on medium-high until it's creamy for about 1 minute. All right, so now I'm just going to scrape this down a bit. And now I'm going to add my powdered sugar, which is 3/4 cup, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And now I'm going to mix this on a medium speed for about 2 minutes. Starting slow because you don't want your powdered sugar to go flying everywhere. Once you feel that it's incorporated nicely, you can take your speed up to a medium. Okay, now I'm going to scrape everything down, and next comes the heavy whipping cream. Okay, with my mixer on low, I'm going to start by pouring in my heavy whipping cream, and I have 1.5 cups here. Once I have it all poured in, then I'm going to put it at high and whip it until stiff peaks form. Okay, now we head over to high. All right, so I'm going to remove my pumpkin from the pan, and I'm just going to place it on a cake board. And you can get a board like this through Amazon or Michael's. All right, so here's my pumpkin, and after a couple hours, I put it in the refrigerator overnight. I find that the cake is ideal refrigerating it overnight so that it gets nice and firm and holds its shape well. All right, so to remove my pumpkin from the pan, I'm going to take my board and place it on top, and I'm just going to flip it upside down. And you want to make sure it's centered on your board or your platter before you lift it up. And it should pop out. And if it doesn't, give it a little tap. There it is. I heard it drop. All right. As you remember, there is parchment paper down, and all I'm going to do next is remove it. Now, using a bread knife, I'm going to find my center here and cut. And with a paper towel, I'm going to wipe it clean. And what I'm going to do is cut this into thirds, cut that into thirds. So try to eyeball it here. All right, and turning it so that it's easier to cut. And I'm going to cut it in the middle. All right, so now that it's all cut, you want to kind of just put it back together if it's shifted a little bit. So next I'm going to take this little piping bag that I bought at the grocery store. It's a real cheap one, came with a little tip. I am going to put my cream frosting in here and then just decorate each piece. All right, so my bag is ready to go and I'll get started here. I also finish these off by adding a little bit of cinnamon. So here's my serving, and it was so easy to remove because the cake is already pre-cut. And I don't know if you can see the crust there. It's caramelized on the bottom and nice and soft in the middle. Wow, this is delicious, and I find it even tastier than traditional pumpkin pie and easier to make in advance. I generally make this about a couple days before Thanksgiving to serve it. I prefer the cream cheese frosting because it has a little more body and holds better in the refrigerator. During the holidays, I make it a couple of days in advance, and my frosting stays nice and firm, and the longer it sits, the more flavor it develops. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe and give it a try. Thank you for joining me today. If you've enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, share with a friend today, and subscribe for more great recipe ideas. Thanks so much. See you next time.